Good evening and welcome to our Smyrna Town Council meeting for September. Before we move into our meeting agenda is our public comments, which it's the town's public comment period shall be reserved for those citizens that have signed up to address the town council or a board or committee at least 24 hours in advance of the meeting pursuant to the town's public comment policy as outlined. And Amber, tonight I show that we have 2 people addressing the council. Okay, I would just ask when you come up if you'll state your name, your address, and if you live in the town limits, and you'll have 3 minutes to address the council. And first we have Chad Talley. Mr. Talley? Okay, then we will move on to Ernest Snyder. Hi.
Good afternoon.
Hi, come forward, and if you'll just state your name, address, and if you live in the city limits.
I sure will.
Sure.
Pardon any misstep. This is my first time speaking
Absolutely.
here. So, my name is Ernest Snyder. I live in the Stonewood community, and I am part of the Smyrna Town 5324 Stonewood Drive.
But not part of the city limits?
I don't know.
You're in the county, right?
in the county.
Okay.
Should I just begin?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I am a resident of the Stonewood community. I'm here today to voice my opposition to the proposed planned residential district zoning near Stonewood via 140 Queen Cliff Court. The impact of this project would have long-lasting negative effects on me and my family personally, on all of my neighbors of Stonewood, and on the town of Smyrna as well. Purchasing a home is a monumental decision considering numerous factors. The primary factor we took into consideration was the peaceful private community that had a rural living lifestyle. Our backyard faces nothing but woods right now. It is a peaceful, safe place for us. This proposed project will buttress right up to our property line with 346 houses with no more privacy and no more peace. You want privacy and peace for your homes and family, and I would like to keep that for mine too, please. My property value will decrease because of the quiet country living that would be exchanged for an oversized subdivision. If this project was allowed, I will no longer have the small, safe town neighborhood my family moved to, a town like Smyrna. The Stonewood community would be affected adversely as well. People unknown to us will have direct access to our backyards and streets. The safety of everyone in our neighborhood will be compromised, especially the children. How do we protect our kids from something we cannot ourselves be protected from? You can help us, though. You can stop this. Every resident of Stonewood will also be affected by the dramatic increase in traffic along Almaville Road. The difficulty of just getting into and out of our small, close-knit community will forever change for the worse. The town of Smyrna will feel the negative effects of this development, too. The infrastructure is simply not capable of handling such a dramatic increase in people and traffic. With 346 proposed lots and a realistic average of 2 vehicles per house, that equals 692 additional vehicles needing the use of Almaville Road. Almaville Road is a small 2-lane road from 840 all the way up to 1 mile lane. This entire section needs to be widened into 2 lanes in each direction to accommodate such an increase in traffic. This needs to be completed prior to breaking ground, not after. Construction traffic alone will cause a constant traffic jam from the 24 to 840. There's 1 traffic light along this entire section of road. This could easily lead to 20-30 minute waits for everyone entering or exiting Almaville Road. Emergency services will not be adequate to support such an increase to the population as well, putting all of Smyrna at an increased risk. Stewart's Creek schools already have an 18-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio. With this potential increase in the students' population, the elementary, middle, and high school student-to-teacher ratio will only get worse, and all the students in this district will pay the price. Every service in Smyrna will be stretched even further than they currently are. This increase in town revenue is not worth the price we will all end up paying. The great news, this is all avoidable. You can stop this project from moving forward, potentially harming the town of Smyrna, your town, our town. Think of how it would affect you if you were in our position. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you.
I will call our meeting to order, and tonight Chaplain Hunt with the Smyrna Police Department is going to say our prayer, and we've had a little bit of a change in our pledge. Tonight, our pledge is going to be done by Scout Troop 167 with the Middle Tennessee Council. So after Chaplain Hunt gets done doing prayer, then we'll have you all come up to do our pledge, okay? Everybody stand with us, please.
Let's all pray together. Our great God and Father in heaven, we humbly come before your throne knowing you are a great God, that you're a loving God, and that you care for each and every one of us. Thank you for those blessings. Thank you for all the blessings that you give us. Father, at this time, we want to especially thank you for the service of all the town council members, managers, the mayor, Father, all of those who serve the town as the police officers, the fire department, street department, those who saw this morning somebody picking up trash from the town. What a humble servant they are. Father, we're thankful for all of them and how they protect us, how they keep us safe, and how they serve us. Please guide and care for them. Keep them safe, keep their families safe. Father, we always want them to come home to a loving family. Father, as we continue tonight, we ask your guidance and care upon our nation, our state, our county, and our town. Father, you know what's happening in our nation right now with a new election coming up. Please help those who are running to be pointed in their comments, but cordial in the way they treat each other. Father, we also ask that you help the citizens to choose the right people. We know that you have always throughout history chosen people to lead nations, to lead communities that serve you and do your will. Help all those who are doing that to serve honorably and truthfully and with a humble heart. Father, we know most do, and we want to encourage all of those to continue doing so. Thank you for their humble hearts. Thank you for their willingness to serve. Please guide and care for our families, and as this meeting goes on tonight, please help the things that are done and said here tonight be a blessing to this community, be a blessing to our county, be a blessing to our state, and be a blessing to our nation. It's through Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Girls, if you'll come forward.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So before you all, audience, you may sit down, but before you guys sit down, so I want each one of you to tell me name and what school you go to and what grade you're in.
Hello, I am Alana Purser. I go to Stewart's Creek Middle School, and I am in 7th grade.
Great.
My name is Isabel Sean. I go to Stewart's Creek Middle School, and I am also in 7th grade.
7th grade.
My name is Alice Vanetis, and I go to Blackman Middle School. I'm as well in 7th grade.
My name is Morgan Lindstrom. I as well go to Blackman Middle School, and I'm in 8th grade.
Great.
My name is Claudia Davidson. I go to Cernertown Elementary, and I am in 7th grade.
Great. And Jennifer, if you'll come forward and tell us a little bit about your troop and
So we are Scouts BSA Troop 167. We were started here in Smyrna back in January of 2023. I have to remember the year there. These girls have done a phenomenal job so far. Tonight they are here working on their citizenship in the community merit badge. They are here to listen to what is going on in the community, find out how they can help, and hopefully, and afterwards talk to Mayor Reed about things that they can do. So we've got a couple of first class members with us. So Morgan here is first class, and Alana, who's hiding behind me, she is also first class, and the other girls are working to get there. So we're very proud to be here, and I'm very proud of these girls in general.
Well,
So-
we appreciate you all being here. I have been lucky enough to speak to them on multiple occasions, and I will tell you that they had to email me themselves to let me know that they needed to come to a council meeting, and we kind of exchanged some emails about things that they needed for with the meeting tonight. So as soon as the meeting's over, then I'm going to have them come up here and sit, and we're going to have some discussion about what they need to get done for their badge. So we're glad you're here, and we appreciate the job in which y'all are doing. Thank you all. Okay, Miss Amber, if you'll do roll call, please.
Yes, ma'am. Councilman Cole,
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Morrell, Councilwoman Peoples,
Here.
Councilman Short,
Here.
Councilman Sullivan,
Here.
Vice Mayor Atkins.
Here.
Mayor Reed.
Here. Item 4 is approval or corrections of the minutes of the August 13th, 2024 regular meeting, the August 27th, 2024 special called meeting, and the August 29th, 2024 workshop meeting of the Town Council. Ben, are these in order?
They appear to be, yes, ma'am.
Great. And council, are there any additions or corrections to these? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved, Mayor.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes pass. Correspondence or communications tonight, Amber or Jeff? Awards or recognitions? Okay. Then we'll move on to our consent agenda. And the consent agenda are items that are determined by the town manager to be routine matters and not necessarily needing discussion. I always like to read these individually so you here in the audience and those at home know exactly what we're voting on. We have quite a list tonight, so if you will bear with me. Item A is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an amendment to the agreement with Premise Health relative to sharing expenses for the wellness center between the town of Smyrna, the city of Laverne, and Unipress. Item B is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a fee letter with SSR for a capacity study at the water treatment plant. Item C is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a letter of agreement for the sewer rehab basin A construction, inspection, and grant administration. Item D is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a rental agreement with the Science Center for the Gear Up exhibit. Item E is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with Sports Surface Pros LLC to paint and stripe pickleball courts at the Smyrna Outdoor Adventure Center. Item F is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with Rackley Roofing for replacement of the roof on the Justice Center building. Item E is approval and authorization for revision to the use of force, vehicle pursuits, and promotional policies for the Smyrna Police Department. Item H is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract extension with TDOT local programs for the Enon Springs Sidewalk Project to September 30th, 2025. Item I is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract extension with Jenny King to clean Town Hall and other buildings. Item J is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute amendment number 1 with Energy, Land, and Infrastructure for the Weekly Lane Improvement Projects. Item K is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute change order number 9 and change order number 10 with Cleary Construction for the Jenny Lane Extension Project. Item L is consideration and authorization of a list of items to be auctioned through online surplus sale with Gov Deals. Item M is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a construction agreement with CSX for sidewalk and curb improvements at Washington Street. And item N is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an employment agreement for the position of town attorney. Council, any item you want to pull off and discuss individually or anything you have questions on?
I have two, actually.
Okay, which
G-
items?
G and M.
Okay, we'll pull off G and we'll pull off M. So any other questions or comments on any of the others? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda excluding item G and M?
So moved.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. So our first item is item G, which is approval and authorization for the revisions to the use of force, vehicle pursuits, and promotional policies for the Smyrna Police Department. Chief?
Hello.
Hello.
I did get the red line version of it, but I still had some questions related to the three new versions. So before, you had indicated that we are making these revisions because of the CALEA. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And there were still some parts of it that when I read it, it still made me question. It wasn't clear to me some of the things that were trying to be conveyed. And so I didn't know if this was something that you had worked on with Ben or with Jeff. I'm not sure who helped you or looked at it with you. Has that been done? Because there's some things I thought might need to be made a little more consistent before you.
Yes,
move
ma'am.
forward with it.
I've worked with Mr. Peach on these throughout the process, but if you have any specific questions, I'm willing to
Okay.
answer them if you need some help.
Okay, because there were, like on the promotions part,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
wasn't sure until I read into a later section. It looks like that there is a number system, and the score, I guess the maximum score is 100%. And that part of it is made up of 80% of the written and what is it? The written and the board review, because there's a 3-person review team that you appoint. And so the most that you can get with that is the 80%, and then 20% comes from the interview with you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I got that because I was reading something else in the back in a different section. So there were just some things I thought that might need to be cleaned up just so it's clear. And so I don't know how that part needs to be addressed and if it would affect you submitting it on for CALEA or not. Because are you necessarily needing to submit it to this agency to look at, or how does that work?
A lot of the additions, or I'm sorry, the edits we're making is following best standards that they set. We've not submitted it. They're doing their review right now. They'll review our policies throughout time. We're in that process right now. So the overall submitting of them coming in and looking at all of our policies, we're just kind of preemptively doing this ourselves. So initially, or eventually, CALEA will come in and review at the department. They'll go through our procedures and our policies to make sure they're in best standing and best practice. So we're kind of getting ahead of this a little bit and doing some of these revisions ourselves. So this is not, if you have some issues or you need some things that, or think there's some things we can do some more additional edits to, I'll be happy to get with Jeff and work
Okay.
on that, because like I said, CALEA is not come in and done their full assessment yet. We've just been working on this ourselves and trying to match up with what other departments do.
Okay. And so the purpose of the CALEA certification is for better training, or, because I tried to go on there and just read it because I wanted to make sure that
Right.
what I was reading and what you were trying to do was being consistent with what they were reflective of. And so I was trying to understand, is it for insurance purposes or is it for some other type of approval?
No, so what they do is they evaluate agencies throughout the country, and they see if the policies you have match with what other departments are doing throughout the country. So use of force, there's different things like choke codes, things like that have been eliminated from most departments throughout the country. They're trying to see, make sure you're matching up and staying within those standards that other departments are doing. So it's just an organization to come in and look through your procedures and your policies to make sure you're matching up with what other departments, most departments throughout the country are doing. So that's why I'm saying best standards, and they have former police officers, former chiefs that come in and they do those evaluations and assessments. They go through your procedures in your property division, your operation of cars, everything that you do at the department, and just make sure that you're up to standard with what a vast majority of departments in the country are doing.
Okay, and so then that's going to affect our insurance as well? Does that give us like a better rating or something
I
as
don't know if it
relates?
really affects the insurance. It's just,
Okay.
it's just standard procedure for departments, that want to be assessed. and looked at and make sure you're following the best practices. I mean, in the end, it will, in my opinion, help with liability if we did have some kind of incident. Someone could come in if we were sued and look at our policies and see that they're meeting the standards. And having that seal from ACLEA is a major thing for most departments of the country.
It's an accreditation, similar to what a school goes through getting an accreditation and the procedures they have to, the hoops you kind of have to jump through to get accreditation.
Okay, and so would they also come in, so if we were to get sued, do they come in and stand as a partner with us, or just the accreditation helps us with the liability issue?
It's my
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's something, I don't know if they get involved in litigation themselves. They would just be able to say, this department's meeting the standards that most departments in the country are meeting.
If someone tries to, under a Monell claim against the municipality itself, not against the officers, one of the issues is going to be whether we have no policy or a bad policy, those types of things. Obviously, it's going to bolster it if it's accredited by this national organization and that other departments utilize it. So you're not have a one-off out there that's a little bit different. So it will bolster. It doesn't give you any more or less guarantee, but by showing it's that national standard, it is going to at least help you on that part of it. Whether you had a bad or good policy, whether they adhere to it or not is another question.
Okay, and so about how many different departments across the country are CALEA certified? Like, is there
I can't give you an exact number. I just know that there's a lot of departments, that's the standard they try to. It's a long process, so a lot of departments don't do it. They'll do the state accreditation instead of doing the national, because it is expensive, but it's more thorough than the state, in my opinion. It's more thorough than the state accreditation is. So a lot of departments, if they don't do it, it's because they don't want to pay the money to do it, and it is a arduous process. You have to go through a review of all your policies and, like I said, procedures. So I don't know the exact number, but I know a lot of the major departments are, because they want that seal on their vehicles, so people know that it is accredited.
All right, and you said the cost, so we've already budgeted, it's in our 2025, or are you having to do it
It was
over
a
time?
previous year's budget.
We already paid
Yes,
for the
ma'am.
whole thing? Okay, I didn't know if it would be segmented, since it's a lengthy process, but we've
No,
already
it's-
paid for everything?
Yeah, yes, ma'am, we already paid for
Okay,
it.
okay.
Raquel, you mentioned something being cleaned up. Was there something you read that you thought should be cleaned up?
Yes, there was some language within the document, but he said that since they're ahead of getting all this done, just talking to Jeff, so
Okay.
I'll do that on the rest of the comments.
How do we need to do that, though, if we're voting on this and it's going to get changed? Should we go ahead?
This is what's going to be, but here's the deal. I don't think she's commenting on, the councilwoman is commenting on any of these changes, because the only change under promotion was removing corporal.
Yes.
So what Councilwoman Peebles is referring to is existing policy, so that's not going to change regardless of how you vote on this.
Okay,
Okay, okay.
that's fine.
You good? Okay.
Okay,
Other questions?
that's it.
Okay, then do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Our next item is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a construction agreement with CSX for sidewalk and curb improvements at Washington Street. Charles?
Hey, Mayor. Councilman Peebles, what can I help
Just
you with?
one question.
Yes.
I was reading it and I was looking at the term, and the term has already come, so are we doing an amendment to it? And I know you just got this like within the last month, but it
Yeah.
had, the parties intend that all work by CSXT or in CSXT property shall conclude no later than June 30th, 2024, unless the parties mutually agree to extend such date. So I was wondering if we had an amendment or an extension to go with
Yeah, I
this when
think,
you sign it.
Jeff, I think we amended that to December of 20.
That's correct.
December of 26, just to
Okay.
get through, because once if you approve it tonight and the mayor signs it, then we have to send it on to CSX for their signature. So we are the first signer on it, and then
Okay.
CSX will then sign off. And once that is in place, we'll have that right away. We can go to TDOT, so we have secured the easements and right away for the project, and then they will let us go out to bid on the
Okay.
project.
So the date has been changed to
Yes,
December, though?
December
Okay.
2026.
Okay, that was my only question, just making sure. Okay.
Other questions or comments? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We'll now move on to old business. Tonight, we have 3 public hearings. Our first public hearing is consideration of a resolution relative to a plan of services for property located on tax map 73, parcel 19.02. Kevin?
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is the plan of services for the annexation request, which is the next item on your agenda. This plan of services just detail the services that would be provided by the town upon the effective date of the annexation, which in this case would be all services except for water, which would be provided by a consolidated utility district. Sewer will be provided via extension of a wastewater main to the property by the property owner. And it would be served by Stewart's Creek Sewer Main once that project is completed. The Planning Commission did hold a public hearing, did review this plan of services, and did recommend approval. Staff would also recommend approval.
Questions or comments for Kevin on the plan of services? Seeing none, then I will go to the public to see if there's anyone here to speak for or against this item. Seeing no one, will close public hearing and go to council for a motion.
Mayor, I'm going to remove myself from item A, B, and C tonight and not discuss it or vote on it.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion on plan of services? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes with 1 abstention. Item B is also a public hearing and a consideration of an ordinance relative to the annexation and PRD zoning of property located on tax map 73, parcel 19.02, requested by Kyle Griffin with CSDG on behalf of Brian Scott and Angela Dawn Helton, containing 115.46 acres. The property is located at 140 Queen Cliff Court. Kevin?
Yes, this is an annexation request with a PRD zoning request as well. The address is 140 Queen Cliff Court. There is an existing residence on the property, and that is their address. That's the address to the property. The development also has access to Drew Street, which is a different county street. Land use plan would support medium-density, single-family residential in this area. Surrounding zoning is the Linwood, PRD, in town, and RM in Rutherford County. As I stated earlier, the town would be providing all services except for water, which would be provided by CUD. This proposed PRD is for 346 single-family lots on 115.46 acres for a density of 3 units per acre. Access would be from Drew Street and 3 future connections to the Linwood development, but would not access and connect to Queen Cliff Court. This proposed PRD has 3 different lot widths and sizes proposed. The largest lots proposed along the border with the Stonewood development. House sizes would range from 1,600 to 3,000 square feet with a minimum of 30% brick or stone on the front elevations. Side and rear elevations also have brick or stone water tables. The remainder of the elevations will be brick, stone, or concrete siding. All requirements of the town with regard to setbacks, parking, and open space would be met with one added requirement that the side setbacks would be 10 feet and not 7.5. The proposed amenities to the development include a pool house, pickleball courts, playground, and several walking trails. The Planning Commission did review this request, did recommend approval with 3 conditions. Traffic study will be required to be submitted, and any improvements recommended by that study are required to be completed by the developer. This development will require submittal for a floodplain development permit, as a portion of this property does have some floodplain on it. So that'll have to be submitted prior to their grading permit, as well as any FEMA review for any necessary letter of map amendment or revision applications. And the no disturb buffer area along the common property line with the Stonewood development must have a minimum dimension of at least 50 feet. That's what I've got.
Questions for Kevin? You do have a sheet in front of you that lists some of what our zoning requirements are and the comparison of what their proposed plans bringing, as well as community feedback that was addressed.
Just so you know, I spoke with them over the phone and was questioning the different lot sizes and asking them what they were going to be putting on those lot sizes. And they didn't commit to an exact number, but what they did tell me was the plan was to put basically an average 2,250 square foot home on the 50-foot lots, 2,600 square foot on the 60-foot lots, and 3,100 square feet on the 75-foot lots.
Okay. Other comments or questions before we move to public hearing?
I had someone ask me a question related to it, and regarding this is one that's requiring a traffic study, right?
Yes.
Okay. And it is also connected to another development and so they're combining traffic studies.
Yes, we actually, Mr. King and I met with the engineer on this, four developments there that have the same civil design engineer. Couple different developers with a couple different traffic engineers. They are working on those individual traffic studies, and they're working to combine those and make sure. That's all I know at this point. We haven't seen those studies yet.
Right.
Or I don't know what the recommendations are going to immediately fall out to be, but they are all working together and getting to that point currently.
So the question that was asked to me was, at the time, why there are 4 different companies working on a traffic study, and since this is such a big project, not just the Queen Cliff, but the surrounding areas as well, would it not be beneficial to have one independent engineer doing the traffic study rather than the engineers that are associated with the developers? So I'm asking the question to you.
Yeah, well, the traffic engineers that are doing the 2 engineers that are doing the 4 studies are not the same developer or the engineer for the developer. They were hired by the developer, but they're not the same company. They're different companies from CSDG. That's not who's doing the traffic studies.
So they have hired independent engineers to do these traffic studies,
Yes.
and it's 2 of them rather than 4?
Yes, because there's 4 developments, but there's only 2
2
developers.
developers.
So each developer hired a traffic engineer separately.
And are they working together
Yes.
to create
Yes.
one consistent sinking plan?
That's what we have been told. Again, we haven't seen those actual
Okay.
studies yet, but that's what we've been told, that the engineers are coming together to try and make sure everything is synced together and working together, yes.
Okay. And so we are not requiring that they have one person or one firm do an independent study because you're comfortable with the 2 that are working?
Well, and it's just because Linwood's been approved they actually did a traffic study 10 years ago or so when they first did. We just had them updated. So all these came in at different times, and we required each one of them to do a study, and they're all doing the study, but we didn't necessarily know that all 4 were going to be coming in, together, so to
At the
speak.
time they came in.
And as it happened, they all came in relatively the same time over several months period, and they're all tied together, or will be tied together with future road connections. So it made sense that there would be some comprehensive look at everything, and so that's what we asked them to do at the last council meeting, certainly, and they are working towards that.
Okay.
To clarify, though, the engineers that have been hired are, for the traffic study, are independent from the developers, correct?
Yes, yeah, they're
Okay.
independent from the developer, design engineer as well.
And so when they stamp it, they're putting their names and their companies on the line as far as doing accurate work, correct?
Professional license.
Professional.
And they should not vary that much. If they follow the national standards, then they should not vary that much.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a lot of overlap, because obviously a lot of the roads that are being affected are the same roads. So, there's gonna be a lot of overlap in these studies, I'm sure. That's why they're coming together to look at everything together.
And with the cross-connectivity, the only access there's not just one ingress or egress, which being Amable Road, that these would flow to, is that correct?
Well, there's several eventually you'll have Independent Hill Road, Amable Road, as well as Rocky Fork Amable Road in multiple locations.
Well, and I appreciate them because we did have discussion at the last meeting, asking them to join together to do the traffic study. So I appreciate them doing that, so. Other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, I will go to the public to see if there's anyone here to speak for or against this item. If you'll state your name, address, if you live in the city limits, and if you're here representing someone, if you'll state that too.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Richard Stevenson here on behalf of St. Burke and the property owner. Office address is 1031 Marietta Street, Atlanta, Georgia, 30318. Thank you for your time, and I hope you appreciate the handout. Just want to reiterate the work that has gone into this plan and what's before you tonight, and seeking your vote of approval. Our group, St. Burke, along with the feedback that we've received from planning staff, you all either directly or indirectly, and our engineer, Carl Griffin, who's here tonight to answer any other questions you may have on the plan. Over the past 5 months, it's a accumulation of all of that effort and feedback that's gone into the plan. I just want to point out a couple of key highlights in terms of this PRD application and the standards, specifically for Queencliff. Our goal has been to get ahead of the changes that are coming before us all here in the town. We've been listening and we've responded, so we've delayed it planning, and we've also changed the plan significantly. We've now got larger lots, a combination of 50s, 60s, and 75 lots. All those total square footages are larger than what is being discussed with the current PRD amendments as well. We feel that with those larger lots will come larger product sizes as well. And I thank Mr. Shaw for his comments earlier, which I shared with him. I also want to point out that we've worked hard to address a lot of the community concerns, specifically with the Stonewood community to the south. So we've eliminated that access point. That was one we changed very early on. And we've also got the 50-foot undisturbed buffer. So that's a tree-safe area between the Stonewood community and the start of the private lots, the R75 lots. So also as well, we made the lots larger along the Stonewood community to respect that and to keep in context with the existing adjacent properties. Just quickly want to point out as well our amenity that we're programming here. We put a lot of work and thought into designing this, and there's a 3D concept as well of what we're envisioning. That's really going to be the heart and soul of the subdivision. So we've got a clubhouse, a pool, pickle courts, playground as well. And we're available for any questions if you have any, but I would ask you to support us in the PRD application. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else here to speak for or against? Then we'll close the public hearing and go to council for a motion.
I will move we approve.
Motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I just really, I'm kind of impressed with how hard that the developers did work on making this into a acceptable subdivision. I'm sorry, I missed your name.
Richard.
Richard. When Richard said we want to get out ahead of the new guidelines, my first thought was, oh, you're trying to get them in before we get them in, but that wasn't it. I mean, what he did here is meets and exceeds the guidelines that we have been working on, that we actually had a 1.5 hour meeting on this afternoon. But, you know, overall, I don't know that it doesn't quite have the same kick that Stonewood does next to it, but it's still not a bad subdivision.
Other comments or questions?
Yeah, you know, just kind of doing a rough estimate of what I'm seeing when you're looking at a 1,600 square foot home in today's market to a 3,000, 3,100 square foot home, you're probably looking low fours, mid fours to upwards of $800,000 when you're getting to the 3,100 square foot home.
Questions or comments?
I'll just reiterate kind of what HG and Tim have said. Richard and I had a very frank conversation, and I mean, there was some issues that I was concerned about, and he jumped on those and got back with me, and I appreciate you working. I told him, I said, hey, I'm just one vote, but he said, I want to make sure everybody's happy, and so I just appreciate you working with us on this and making the changes to get us a good product. Appreciate it.
Other questions or comments?
I guess I'll add my 2 cents. I met with these guys a couple of times, and a lot of the things that was not in the original plan are the things that you addressed. And I appreciate the willingness to work with us. A lot of times what you see in these meetings is the finished product that we've already spent hours reviewing and going over and negotiating. And some of the things like putting the larger lots adjacent to Stonewood and the mix of the smaller versus the medium-sized lots. Tim, I was looking at the same thing, 1,650 square foot house at $250 a square foot is $412,000. I think the gentleman that spoke said this is going to lower his home values. I don't see how that could happen. There was also one of the comments about widening Anvil Road. As we've said that 1,000 times probably now, that is a state highway. TDOT has been very clear that they're not going to widen that road 4 lanes from one end to the other. That's not even a conversation at this point. And then I think the last point is that, the traffic studies that are being done, I think, Kevin, you mentioned it, but the recommendations from these traffic studies have to be implemented. So if the traffic study comes back and says something has to be done, it has to be done. And I'm not sure how we could do anything any differently to address potential traffic concerns. So I feel like we've done everything we can do to allow a property owner in Rutherford County to sell their property and maximize the value they're getting from it, and then allow a developer to develop in our community a product that enhances the community and doesn't degrade it. So I thank you.
Other comments? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Say aye. Hey, Raquel's on it. You guys are a little slow. So, did you get those?
I got it.
Got them. Okay. Any opposed? With 1 abstention. Item C is consideration of resolution and memorandum of ordinance 24-30 relative to the annexation and PRD zoning of property located on tax map 73, parcel 19.02. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With 1 abstention. Now, Kevin, I had somebody ask me a question that pertains kind of to this subdivision a little bit. They're on Drew Street and they're in the county, but when the sewer is put there, if they wanted to connect on to sewer, what is that process?
Well, the policy is currently you have to request annexation to tie on to sewer, certainly. But certainly that would be their process if they wanted they were any of their neighbors or wanted to come in. We don't know yet exactly the physical location of where that sewer is going to be and all that yet. That's still being designed. But certainly if it's available, then they could certainly request annexation and go through the same process that these folks did. Just request annexation, planning commission review, and the two council reviews.
Okay. Okay. Item D is our last public hearing tonight. It's a consideration of an ordinance amending the approved PRD and tax map on tax map 28, parcel 44.24, requested by Spencer Sanders on behalf of Sam Ridley Apartment Partners, WB LLC. The property requested contains 39.11 acres and is located on Sam Ridley Parkway West and Motlow College Boulevard. Kevin?
Yeah, this is a rezoning request. This property has frontage on Sam Ridley Parkway West, Motlow College Boulevard, and Jeannie Lane. The land use plan is the Sam Ridley corridor character area, which would support regional scale mixed-use commercial development as well as mixed residential, personal services, office, and medical uses. The surrounding zoning is a mix of R6 and C2. The currently approved PRD for this property would allow 350 apartments, 80 single-family homes, and 16 duplexes and 32 units. So a total of 462 residential units. The density is about 11.82 units per acre. The proposed amendment would allow 330 apartments and 130 townhomes, so a reduction of 2 units and a density of 11.76 units per acre. The proposed amendment would maintain the all rental nature of the existing approved PRD. All requirements of the town regarding parking and open space would be met. The previous PRD did include a pedestrian connection to the YMCA. That is still shown. The on-site amenities include a pool, clubhouse, dog parks, and a playground. The architectural elevations show a mix of brick and concrete siding on all buildings, with elevations facing a public street enhanced with additional brick and other architectural features. The access would be from Jackdaw Drive, which is a street that is stubbed into the property, as well as Jeannie Lane and Motlow College Boulevard. The Planning Commission did review this request, did recommend approval with one condition, that they submitted an updated traffic study, as the study for this site was done over 5 years ago, and any recommended improvements would be required to be completed by the developer. We have received that study since the last reading. I have personally, I don't know if Mr. King's had a chance to review that or not, but we did receive that, so they have submitted it. We still need to review it to make sure everything's in order. There was a lot of discussion last month about some of the elevations. They did send revised elevations, primarily on those units that back up to and are visible from Sam Ridley Parkway and Jeannie Lane and those public streets. And so those have been changed from what you looked at last month to try to address some of the concerns that were raised last month on that. So I think that's all I've got.
Questions for Kevin on this?
On the drawing, there is one place on here on the north side for a bus stop. And my question was, is it possible to have a bus stop or another stop on the Jeannie Lane side? I was just thinking about children having to walk all the way over to the other side for the bus stop.
Yeah, I think that's most likely, if this is approved, and once we get to the site plan, that's typically, they work with the school board and the transportation department of the school board to locate those. I can certainly see that. Certainly, I think one where they're shown is going to be necessary, because that's to serve the townhome area that has more bedrooms than maybe some of the apartments do. They do have one, I'm sorry. They do have one at Jackdaw Drive as well. But you're right, there may be a need for something on the Jeannie Lane side as well, kind of in the middle. There. But again, we will look at that and kind of work with the school board on that, because to be sure that they're located where they want to pick children up at.
Okay, thank you, Kevin.
Other questions?
Kevin, inside this development, would they be considered private roads or public streets?
Everything's private, other than they are going to extend and create a cul-de-sac there on Jackdaw Drive. That will be public. Other than that, it will be all private.
Does that ever have an effect on school buses not wanting to go on the private streets?
That has been the policy of the school board, is they don't want their buses to leave public right of way. I do know that they do sometimes, depending on the specific location. I mean, Alta Depot is one that they wanted to pick up in the middle of that development, so they do leave the public right of way at times. I think they try to minimize that.
It'll be their decision.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Other questions or comments? Okay, this is a public hearing, so I'll go to the public to see if there's anyone here to speak for or against this item. Seeing no one, I'll close public hearing, go to council for a motion.
I move to approve.
A motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and second, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. We'll now move on to new business. I don't remember when the last time that I said this. There is nothing under the Planning Commission report this month, so that doesn't happen often.
We had a 45-minute meeting the other night.
Oh, I just figured it was a short meeting and y'all just got out of there.
Tim moved us through pretty quick.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Good. Item B, consideration of an ordinance relative to a budget amendment for fiscal year 24-25 for the Rock Springs Road improvements from Mabel Farms to Cooks Lane.
Mayor and council, this is item to add a line item for improvements to Rock Springs Road to keep up with the Mabel Farms improvements to Rock Springs Road.
Questions for Charles on this? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item C is consideration of an ordinance amending the town's stormwater ordinance in order to comply with the new Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation requirements. Hey, Tom?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Yes, so we had to make some revisions to our stormwater ordinance and some of the supporting documents focused on the stream buffer requirement, increasing to 60 feet. Also, additional information regarding maintenance of stormwater systems, some changes to the water quality treatment volume calculations, additional outreach to the community, and some additional enforcement for stormwater violations. This brings us in compliance to the new TDEC stormwater NPDES requirements.
Questions for Tom on this? Okay. Seeing none, do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item D is consideration of appointment of one member to serve on the Rutherford County Library System Board for a term of 3 years ending in 2027. And Amber, I'm having a little issue with my thing. I just want to make sure that I have the 3 correct. Michael Adams, Lisa Brewer, and Angela Frederick. Is that correct? Oh, I'm sorry. I
Let me
caught you
dig.
off guard.
That's what's in our packet.
Okay.
If that's what's in your packet, then those are the
That's
3
it.
that we have. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I have on mine.
Okay, and because I can't get that to pull up, is that my appointment or is it council?
I think it's council nomination, and confirmation.
Confirmation by council. Got it.
The
So-
the summary in the packet says mayor's nomination and
I
confirmed by
checked with
majority
Jeff
vote.
after that to double check. He read the statute again, and it's council nomination and confirmation
Okay.
with
So
the
we're clear.
statute change.
So, perfect. So I'm kind of glad that I wasn't able to open that. So, then I will open the floor for nominations.
I would nominate Lisa Brewer. I've obviously know Lisa, but I've also spoken with Angela, not spoken with Michael, but of the candidates that I reviewed, I think she's by far the most qualified.
Okay. Anyone else? Then I will close the floor to nominations, and since we only have one member to appoint, and Lisa was the nomination, all in favor of Lisa Brewer to serve on the Rutherford County Library System Board to serve a 3-year term ending in 2027, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Amber, do you get with Lisa to let her know, or is that something the library you will?
And I will connect her with the secretary of the library board as well. That's what I ended up doing with Ben, and that seemed to work well, so.
Yeah, is that Elsa? Yeah, Elsa Britt.
I'd have to
Yeah.
look at mine.
Yeah, that's the right person.
Okay.
Perfect, great, thank you so much.
Whoever it was, she was very friendly.
Good.
so-
She is. She's very
Okay.
good too.
Yes.
Good. Anything under other tonight? Jeff or Amber?
I have nothing under other,
Okay.
believe it or not.
Then Rex, we can't go a meeting without seeing you. Come on up and let's do status reports.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. August state shared tax, we received $784,583, which is slightly over budget. August local sales tax, we received $1,815,261, and that's slightly under budget.
Okay. Concerns?
Not yet. I think the Federal Reserve's monetary policy they have now is definitely tightening the economy, and inflation kicked in and it hitting folks hard. But we look for the Federal Reserve to maybe easing their high interest rate, and I think that'll help pick things back up again.
Yeah.
I think it's important to note too, that although it's under budget, it's still higher than it was this time last year. So it's still an increase year over year, which is still some positive news there.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions for Rex? Thanks. Anything a director or department head needs to announce tonight? Nope. Amber Lou?
Yes, ma'am. So I have a slide for, this will be the last time you see this for this year, this slide at a council meeting, but we are in race week for the Top Gun Night Run. It's Friday, September 13th at 7:30. We are actively watching the forecast for Friday, and we have a contingency plan in place. So if we are not able to go forward on this Friday, the 13th, it will be rescheduled to the following Friday, September 20th at the same time at 7:30. But for now, we're still planning on going forward this Friday, and you can watch our social media for any updates on our social media sites. I'm happy to announce that this is the largest race that we've had thus far in terms of sponsorships for the race, in terms of, we have 652 currently registered, which in our books is technically a sold-out race, but I bet Marty and Mike could probably find me some more spots if I absolutely needed them. So if you want to register, go online through our website, and you can register for the Top Gun Night Run online until Wednesday, September 11th. After that, you will have to call Marty and Mike and beg them to let you in through the Parks Department or in person. So we're super excited about that race. Your entry fee comes with a custom medal and a long sleeve dry fit t-shirt. I did
Do we have
share
a picture of that?
Well, I shared one with all of our registered runners, and I believe we've shared one on social media as well. So you can pop over on the Town of Smyrna Facebook page or the Captain Coos Memorial Facebook page and check out this year's medal and t-shirts.
Well, I'll tell you what, maybe if Todd's listening, he'll run back to your office and grab the t-shirt and the medal off my desk, and we'll show it before. Oh,
There he
look,
goes.
there he goes. He's off.
He's done.
We're gonna time him to see how fast that he is. So we'll
And
show
I'm
it before
sure
we're
I
done.
can share a couple things until then. So we have some different things that we're doing this year. We have some of our vendors, our sponsors, that are also coming out, and they're setting up 10 by 10 tents. They're going to have giveaways. We have the Middle Tennessee Electric truck scheduled to come out and give away grilled cheese samples. And some of our other sponsors have signed up to give away custom cookies. We've got handouts from PepsiCo in the form of different drinks, Gatorade, lemonade, water, donuts from SRM. So we've got a variety of things, and those are all free giveaways for not only the runners, but any patrons that come up there and just want to enjoy the band and a good time. So we've got Bueller playing, which is an 80s tribute band. So it's just going to be a fun night, whether we're able to go forward with it this Friday or you come out and join us next Friday. We would encourage you to do both. That's it.
Great.
He
Who'd you
wasn't
say was
fast
playing
enough.
again? Who'd you say was playing the band?
Bueller.
Bueller.
Bueller. Yeah, I have seen that movie. I know that's where you're going with that.
Okay, Jeffrey L.
Yes, so as far as my slides go, Todd, you can come on in here and
Is Todd gonna model?
It's the mayor's office.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
still
it's sitting
looking.
on my
I'll
desk.
go get it.
Still looking.
Okay.
Anyway, back to where I was. It was a beautiful Saturday to partner with the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency Fisheries Division to present the Autumn Animals Program. It was great to see all the attendees enjoying the programs and learning about wildlife. Also wanted to announce that the government flags will fly at half-staff in observance of Patriot Day and National Day of Service in remembrance of 2024. And also ask that everyone take a moment tomorrow to remember 9/11, 23 years ago. Remember the victims of the terrorist attack as well as the police and fire. And just consider what that day means. That's all I have.
Ben?
I do not have anything else.
Raquel?
I have a slide. So today is my turn to talk about the census. Completing your census is as easy as 1, 2, 3. There are 3 ways to complete. You can complete and return the form in person at Town Hall or by mail, online using a computer or smartphone at www.townofsmyrna.org, or by telephone calling 615-267-5005. And you only have to provide 3 pieces of information: your Smyrna address, the street number and name, the number of people living in the home, regardless of their age, and the full name of each residence. And that's it. These 3 steps will help shape Smyrna's tomorrow. We're counting on you. Did I do that good? Census facts. You must count everyone in your home, including newborns. The responses are never made available to law enforcement or immigration. The census only asks for the names of the people in your household. Responses are confidential by law for 72 years. There is no citizenship question or requirement on the 2025 special census. Door-to-door visits will be made to addresses with no response, so respond today. Every person left unaccounted is like throwing away $175. And as of today, Amber has informed me that there have been 20,000 citizens accounted for. So thank you, Smyrna, for filling out your census, but we need more.
You think, what,
So-
about another 40,000?
About
Another 40,000.
So please get that in.
The
And-
majority of those came from the schools as well, but we're starting to get a lot of phone calls in from the utility inserts that have gone
Awesome.
out, so.
The schools were great to work with us. They sent home the forms and got them back, and Amber and the census team have done a great job, but we are very blessed that the schools have worked so well with us, so.
So we're encouraging all citizens to complete these, and if you know someone, encourage them to go ahead and complete it. It's $175 for the town. So everybody do your part. And then I have 2 other things. I would like to say condolences to Miss Marion Appleton and the Clark family. And also, I would like to say happy birthday to my daughter, who turned 21 on Sunday. So happy birthday to her.
Great.
And that's it.
G?
Okay, first I want to send congratulations to my nephew, Clayton McDonald, who's getting married tomorrow in Colorado. But I have the Love Where You Live slide. Help keep Smyrna litter free. Always give a shout out to Mr. Tony Proctor for picking up trash. The rest of us need to follow his example. We'll talk about something else here too. You know, they have single stream recycling out at the recycling center at Weekly Lane, and you can put all your recyclables together and toss it into one container out there. You don't have to sort it or anything like that. And, you know, you can drop your trash into one and the recyclables in the other one. And that's one of the things that we're going to have to become more aware of in this country. Over and above that, Rex said our numbers were down a little bit. Let's do better and shop local next month. And above all, be kind. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Tim?
Yes, I'll add my condolences to Miss Appleton and the Clark family, longtime members of this community. I guess with that, I have, Nora, happy birthday. And then I'll add, I have a slide tonight. It's not HG, but this is Pups in the Pool. Smyrna Parks and Recreation is excited to invite you and your dog to Pups in the Pool on September 14th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The cost is $10 per dog. All money collected goes directly to the Friends of Bark Springs. This is a nonprofit group, and it is designed to assist with ongoing maintenance and improvements at Sharp Springs National Area. We do this annual event at the Smyrna Outdoor Adventure Center's Splashdown Swimming Pool at 611 Nolan Drive. That's it.
Nothing else?
That's it.
How's Donna?
Donna's doing good.
Good.
New cast today.
New cast, good. Okay, Jerry?
I think I have a slide. This is one of actually my favorite things that happens here at the town. It's on Friday, the 27th. We've got the Depot District Car Show from 6 until 8:30. Anyone that wants to get in that, it will be the first 75 cars will be allowed in, and it starts lining up at 5:45. And if I'm not mistaken, it probably hasn't changed that once you get in there, you can't leave until it's over. So it's always a good time. Usually that Friday night, late in September, is a nice cool evening, and a lot of pretty cars there. So if you get a chance, come out. And then the next day is Depot Days, and that's from 10 o'clock until 4. There's going to be roughly 100 vendors and just an array of goods and culinary creations and crafts. For the little ones, there's the Kids Zone will be available with inflatables, free of charge. For just $1, the kiddos can embark on a train ride and partake in the kid-friendly activities. So if you get a chance, it's going to be at the obviously the train depot. So please, if you can come out, it's always a fun day. So I look forward to that. So hope you can come out. As far as Nora, happy birthday, and happy birthday to her. Also, my condolences to Miss Appleton and the Clark family. I talked to her, I guess it was the morning after Casey passed away, and as we were talking, I didn't know this, but he, back when I was a junior in high school, we had at homecoming, he played in our homecoming, and I didn't even know that. But and also, for those of you didn't know, he actually got to play with Jimi Hendrix as well. That was kind of they said one of the highlights of his life. So he touched a lot of people. I think sometimes if you listen to WGNS, he'd be on there as well. So. Miss Appleton, we're thinking about you. We're praying for you, and just in this time. So that's all I've got.
All right. I've got one slide. Citizens Police Academy. If you want to know more about law enforcement or become more involved in our community, we encourage you to participate in the 2024 Citizens Police Academy. It's an 8-week course which begins September 17th and ends on November 5th. The course application is linked on the Town of Smyrna website. My son went through this many years ago when he was just old enough. Actually, Chief Arnold and I had to wait a year because he wasn't old enough to go through it. He went through the next year, and he's now in the police academy in Metro. So I think this program kind of showed him a little bit about what policing was like, and probably helped form his potential, future. So it's a great program, and encourage folks to get involved. Also, condolences to Miss Appleton and Nora. Wow, 8 years ago when we first got elected, she was just 13. It's hard to believe that it's been that long. So happy birthday, Nora. I'm sure that you are being safe and calm and relaxed tonight. Enjoy your 21st birthday, and that's all I got.
I also have a slide, I think. Yeah. So the town of Smyrna is developing a comprehensive plan to improve safety for all road users on city-owned roadways, including pedestrians, bicyclists, transit users, and drivers. The action plan will focus on roadway safety challenges, identifying projects, and developing policies that will address these challenges. This effort is funded by a Safe Streets for All grant awarded to the city earlier this year. To have the best plan possible, we need your input. Opportunities for input will occur both online and in person. With your help, this plan will help prioritize roadway projects and develop policies that will make our roads safer for everyone. Please visit the townofsmyrna.org website and click on Safe D Street to complete the survey and learn more. That's D Street. Be sure to follow the project website for future updates. And I know, too, roads are something we talk about quite a bit. We have a lot of plans going on with roadways now. I think the batch companies will close around November, December. So there's a lot of plan and action, I know, right now to get some of our roadways paved. So I know those of you that are wondering when your road might be paved, you may very well be on that list. I know Old Nashville Highway is being addressed right now, and that's been a big one. So, also, just a couple things I wanted to point out. Two people, one's in the room tonight, is been with the town of Smyrna now for 30 years. Rex, raise your hand back there. Rex is a 30-year employee here, and he's the director of finance for our town. Does a wonderful job helping our town stay financially healthy. It's been about 15 years since this town had any kind of tax increase at all. And that's due to not only Rex and his staff, but all the staff that's sitting in this room tonight, all the directors and all of our employees that do a wonderful job going out there and doing their job, saving money, doing all the things we can do to run a tight operation. We are a AAA credit rating town, and not too many municipalities can say that. Financially, we're very, very healthy. We're spending that money as we go right now, getting your roadways taken care of and things of that nature. So, Rex, thank you for your 30 years. You've been a friend for, I think, about that long with me at church. I appreciate you and all the work that you, your staff, everybody in this room that works for the town of Smyrna, thank you, because you're the ones that make it work. So, the second person is not in the room. That's Captain Jeff Dwyer. Jeff Dwyer has been also with the town now for 30 years. So, Jeff, I don't know if you're watching or not, but the chief is here. So if you're not watching, we wish you all the best and thank you for your 30 years of service. Chief, if he didn't watch this, he probably didn't. Would you tell him that we sent our best wishes and thank him for his 30 years? To Miss Appleton and the Clark family, yes, condolences for them as well, and also to Nora on her birthday. And thank you for mentioning 9/11. Tomorrow is that day, and Mayor just whispered to me, can you believe it's been that long? And it's been a long, long time, but the minute we forget that happened is the minute our country suffers for it. We're better for it, I hope, and condolences still to those families that had to suffer through that. So say a prayer tonight for those 9/11 families and their loved ones. They went through a lot, and that's all I have there.
Thanks. So a couple of items on Sunday, Mark and Todd, myself, HG, and Heather were all out to ride with the Guard, and they just wanted to showcase some of their toys and also to talk a little bit about what they do in our community. And so I think this is going to be a yearly event. I was really excited because we also talked about them having some of the equipment in our Christmas parade this year. So hopefully they're going to be able to do that. Also, save the date for Halloween fun events. Friday nights, Friday, October 11th and Saturday, October 12th at the SOAC from 6 to 8, the non-scare hours and Kid Zone, and from 8 to 10 will be the scary hours. So that is Friday, October 11th and Saturday, October 12th. And then mark your calendars for Halloween in the Park, which is going to be Saturday, October 26th at Sharp Springs Park from 3 to 8:30, which is a fun time had by all. And Chris, I'm going to do my best here in regards to sharing the shirt. And as you can see, we went back to long sleeve this year. So, okay, Chris, am I doing okay? Okay, wait.
There you go.
How is it? Okay, there we go. So, got the shirt this year, but the thing I'm most excited about is the medal. So, I think it's a pretty cool medal. So, we're excited. And if you have not gotten signed up, Amber says she still has a few spots you can sign up. And we're gonna keep our fingers crossed that we can get it in on Friday night. If not, then we'll do it next Friday night. So we hope everybody will come out. And if you don't want to participate, come out and enjoy the fun. It will be a lot of fun for the community. So, council, anything else? Okay, if not, then we're adjourned.
Rain showers in the morning, will evolve into a more steady rain in the afternoon.
I've got to answer tomorrow.